StringWriter. We have the StringWriter also. Have you seen StringWriter? No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When we look at that writer, yeah, it will come. Yeah, we had that list. So print stream and print writer, right? The whole idea is here. It's a println, format, printf. These are all the additional methods we are having. Okay, compared to the other streams we have seen. Okay. So mainly for text output. Sequence, pushback, string writer, string reader is yeah, we have seen the string reader, print streams, data and the object streams. We forgot the string reader. String reader is there. String writer. Acha, string writer has been forgotten, it seems. Here I have mentioned. Okay, so string writer is one more thing that we should have been looking at. And name suggests what's a superclass? Writer. And it extends from writer. To create a string writer, yeah, okay. Now, what is a string writer doing? Let me just put the diagram here. So it's a writer, right? String writer is a writer. This is a string writer. Fine. So when you create a string writer, you can specify initial capacity, or you leave it blank, no parameter, then there is a default value for the initial capacity. Okay. Now, I don't know, like we didn't discuss much, but I think we did touch upon this, that we have the classes like the string buffer, okay, and string builder. These two classes, we're aware of these two. Okay. We have the classes like the string buffer and string builder. They are the char sequence, fine, modifiable. Their string is unmodifiable. Objects of string are immutable, whereas this is a mutable char sequence. String buffer, string builder. String builder was introduced from Java 5. Okay, so before that it was always the string buffer which was in use. Fine. So a string writer is internally using an object of a string buffer. Okay, so there is a string buffer object being used. So when you say, okay, create a string writer object, yes, it internally has one string buffer object. Okay, when you write, it's filling this string buffer. It's like append. Fine, you're writing, but it's appending into the string buffer. Fine, it's appending into the string buffer, okay, so it's fine. And then, so the idea is, yes, you can keep on writing into it, so you are able to use methods of writer here. Okay, methods of writer to update a string buffer. And we have a method. Now this is not a good idea, but yes, they have done this. We have a method called get buffer. Okay, to return the object of string buffer. So the internal object is made available. It's not a good idea, right? There is internal object of string buffer, and you get that object of string buffer. So it's like, oh, create a string buffer, but it's like a string buffer on which you use the methods of writer. Okay. Anytime you want, you get that buffer. So you can then be using methods on that buffer directly also. But if you use method of writer, you can still be using methods of writer to update that string buffer. Okay, mix the two of them, buffer and writer. Okay, and updating a string buffer with the help of a methods of writer. Right? Yeah, so constructor doesn't find, we understand constructor will not require a parameter for string writer, or you can give parameter which is nothing but the initial capacity, and that's what is also there in the constructor of string buffer. To create a string buffer, you can create with default no parameter empty string buffer, and there are many more other constructors for string buffer, but yes. Just blank. Initial capacity will be there. Initial capacity, but there's no data in it. Yeah. So it's empty data, empty buffer. Okay. You keep on appending, adding data into it. So that's the data which it gets. There's no initial data in it. Okay. See, when I'm saying buffer, it's similar to that, array how it kept on expanding. So, yeah. But initial there is some array size. We said when we used with the passbook thing, we started with 100. So that's the capacity it has. Ensure capacity is in the there is a class called vector where we have this. No, not in array list. Not in the array also. Yeah. Array is always fixed size. It's in the vector class. Ensure capacity. Yeah. Initially, this much buffer is there, but there's no data in that. Basically, vector had also the method called capacity to know what is the capacity, and capacity will always be greater than or equal to the size. So it's that. So string buffer also has that similar thing. They have a capacity.